Hare Krishna. Today we are going to study the verse number 22 of chapter number 5 of Bhagwat Gita as it is. In this verse, we will get to know that why the intelligent people never get attracted towards the sense objects of this material world. The name of this chapter is Karma Yoga, which means actions in Krishna consciousness. The name of the chapter indicates that when a person is engaged in Karma Yoga, then gradually he will surely become Krishna conscious and his senses will be completely purified. And when the senses are purified, mind and intelligence is completely engaged in Krishna conscious activities. Such a person never gets attracted to any sense objects of this temporary world and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. In this chapter, the verse number 18, Krishna has appreciated a person whose mind, intelligence and faith is firmly fixed in the Supreme, and then such a person is truly a humble sage who sees no difference between a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog or a dog eater. Further in verse number 19, Krishna says that those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity, they have already conquered the conditions of repeated birth and death in this material world. They become flawless like Brahman and thus they are already situated in Brahman. In verse number 20 of this chapter, Krishna has explained more qualities of a person who has already conquered the most unconquerable birth and death. Krishna says that such a person neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor does he lament upon obtaining something unpleasant. He is self-intelligent, unbewildered and knows the science of God and is already situated in transcendence. Then in the next verse, that is in the verse number 21, Krishna elaborates the most rare quality of a person who is already situated in transcendence, and that quality is this, that he is not attracted to any material sense pleasures or external objects, but is always absorbed in trance, that is, enjoying the communion with the Supreme Lord within his heart. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme and he has the higher taste of supreme bliss. Then why will he ever indulge in the inferior taste of sense enjoyment of this material world? Any sense enjoyment in this material world is temporary and is like eating mud. Transcendental bliss is nectar. Now in today's verse, Krishna is going to explain the reason that why an intelligent person who is self-realized and is already situated in transcendence does not take part in the source of all kinds of sense pleasures of this material world. Today's verse is extremely important, and after understanding the full explanation, we will be able to decide for ourselves which path to take: sense enjoyment of this material world or the path of spiritual happiness. Now let us start the verse number 22 by reciting the verse. Ehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonay evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonay evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonay evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Krishna says that an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavantah kaunte nateshu ramate buddha. Now let us read the Anvay given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Ye which, he certainly, sansparsha chaha, born of sensual contact with the sense objects, bhogah, all pleasures, dukkha yonah, sources of misery, ev, certainly, te, they, adi antavantah, a beginning and an end, kaunteya, O son of Kunti, na, not, teshu, in them, ramate, delights, buddha, an enlightened man. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti, pleasures born of contact with the senses are certainly the cause of misery. Since they have a beginning and an end, an enlightened person does not become attached to them. Further, Chakravarti Pad says that a wise man does not become attached to sense enjoyments for the reason that everything in this material world is temporary. And this verse also begins with the words, Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. It means that all the worldly sense pleasures, which are due to the contact with the material senses, are certainly to give misery because such pleasures have a beginning and an end. And this is why a wise man does not delight in them. Nateshu ramate buddha. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the happiness derived from the contact of the senses with the sense objects is called sansparsh moksha. Such happiness has a beginning and an end. For when the contact is broken, the happiness ceases. And for this reason, the wise do not become attached to such sense enjoyments, which is transient and only appears to be pleasant. The intelligent and wise person knows that this material world is only to maintain the body and not for engaging their senses in actions of sense gratifications. Hence, they do their worldly activities with a mood of detachment. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained to us that why the intelligent and wise man do not indulge in any activities of sense pleasures. Now, let us read the purport given by Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that the material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary, and a liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary because he knows well the joys of transcendental pleasures which is eternal. And knowing well the transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasures? The material enjoyment is called false because it is temporary, and the liberated soul knows that he is a spirit soul and a part of the Supreme Krishna, and Krishna resides in his heart as Paramatma. Such a liberated soul continuously derives the transcendental bliss within his heart. Then why should he indulge in any material happiness? Because the nature of this material world is temporary and the material body is also temporary. In the Padma Puran it is said, Ramante yogino anante satyanand chidatmani iti ram padena shau paramam brahma abhidhiyate. It means the mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Ram. Ram means unlimited transcendental pleasures. In the Srimad Bhagwatam also it is said, Ayam deho deh bhajamam riloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhajam ye tapo divyam putrkayena sattvam shuddhed yasmad brahm saukhyam tva anantam. In Bhagavatam it is stated that Rishabdev said to his sons, My dear sons, there is no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasures while in this human form of life. Such pleasures are available to the stool-eater hogs also. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life by which your existence will be purified, and as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendental bliss. Srila Prabhupada says that in our scriptures and the great sages have always advised not to get attached towards any material sense pleasures. Rather, to resist from all kinds of sense gratification activities by engaging all the senses in listening, seeing, and doing things only to please Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says that those who are true yogis or learned transcendentalists, they are not attracted by any kind of sense pleasures which are the causes of continuous material existence. That is, which causes repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. Srila Prabhupada says that the more one is addicted to the material pleasures, the more he is entrapped by material miseries. Let us repeat it again. Srila Prabhupada says that the more one is addicted to material pleasures, the more he is entrapped by material miseries. Srila Prabhupada in most simple words says that the people who have their entire concentration to enjoy this material world are called materialistic people, and the people who have their entire concentration to make Krishna happy are known as Krishna conscious or spiritualistic people. The spiritualistic people are intelligent and wise, and they never engage in any kind of sense gratification activities which happens with the contact of sense organs and the sense objects, because they know fully well that all the material objects and people are temporary. So why engage in something transient and temporary? We must always think very deeply that after all, why is Krishna saying all this to Arjun in Bhagwat Gita? The answer is this, that Krishna wants us to become intelligent and wise so that we do not engage in the material sense gratification activities which will have misery in the beginning and at the end as well, because everything is temporary. The only thing that is permanent is Krishna and our relationship with Krishna. So we need to become wise to choose the best for our own eternal happiness, and this happens only when we focus on Krishna and do everything as directed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada says that we have to definitely depend on material things for sustenance of our body. But we need to constantly remind ourselves that material things are only for the maintenance of the body and nothing more. Prabhupada says that everyone must perform his prescribed duties according to the scriptures, but never indulge in accumulating more than required. Our scriptures have always said simple living and high thinking. And Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how can we follow it in our daily life and make our rare human life a successful life. I thank Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and my Shiksha Guru. His grace, Harimohan Das Prabhuji for giving us the most important and the most secretive knowledge of Bhagwat Gita in such a simple manner. I thank each one of you for listening to the words of God so patiently and attentively. Please do write in the comment section what you have learnt in this particular verse and which way have you chosen. Krishna and our acharyas have clearly said that the sense enjoyment is temporary, transient, and it gives us misery in the beginning and at the end. And the spiritual path is eternal and it gives us eternal happiness because Krishna is permanent and the happiness that we derive with communion with Krishna, that is also permanent. Now the choice is ours. Now we shall meet the next week with a new verse. Till then, keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Watch this video again and again and do share it with others, as this is the only way that we can do good to the entire mankind. Hare Krishna.